Welcome back to another episode of A Shaman in Suburbia. Today I am going to talk to you a little bit about seeing yourself as a whole self. I came up with this a few years ago and began teaching some workshops on it, and it's really been helping me as well as others to see ourselves as more than just a body or more than just a mind or whatever it is that you put your focus on for yourself. So I drew this picture to share with you all today. This is how I envision your whole self. A long time ago I called it a Gumby. Now I talk about it as a gingerbread because that's what most people seem to see when they see it. And I'm going to go through the different parts of you as a whole self. We're going to start with our mind today. So we have this mental aspect of ourself. I draw it at your mind's eye. We think about that here, and we often point to this part of us when we say we're thinking, or I had a thought about something, or I had a dream about something. And even in sign language, there's some association with the mind's eye and the word for thought. So this is our mental aspect. This is all your thoughts. This is your mind. Just one piece of you, and it's everything that you would call your good thoughts and everything you would call your bad thoughts. It's just thoughts. The next part that I'm going to point out is your emotional self. This is where I put it at the heart. And I put it at the heart because, again, we talk about it that way. We talk about like having something on my heart that I want to share, or maybe I might say, my heart is heavy. Sometimes people talk about that when they feel like they have some sadness or depression. So these are your emotions and your feelings. Now, feelings come and go all day long. I might have woken up this morning excited about lounging some today, and then I realized that my cat had knocked over my lamp and I felt a little frustrated. Feelings come and go all day long. So you might imagine your feelings like the waves coming in and out. They're going to come all day, and they might be different. Your emotions or your emotional state is that undercurrent underneath. And so we can have an emotional state of joy and peace. And as we are focusing on how tapping into that shamanism, that healing, it brings us into a place of balance, which means you tap into your joy and peace. Other people who aren't quite engaged in that yet, they may be feeling like their emotional state is one of anxiety, that their general way of feeling is anxious most of the time, with maybe pops of happiness here and there. Or maybe depression could be what their emotional state feels like. So as we bring ourselves into balance, we can see that that aspect of ourself becomes more in tune with our inner joy and peace. The next part I'm going to point out is actually your physical body. So this one is the outline of my gingerbread. Your physical body is literally your physical body. So my arm, my leg, but everything on the inside too. My lungs, my heart, all the other organs and the systems like my nervous system. So this is our physical body, our vehicle for our soul here on planet Earth. Next, I'm going to point out that spiritual or intuitive part of you. So this I put down at your solar plexus, your belly button area. I draw it yellow because that's how we see it in yoga, as that golden yellow color, which is a great way to also envision this spiritual intuitive part of ourself is our power center. And this chakra in yoga is related with you connecting with your inner power. It's also physically our core, which also brings us that core strength. Everyone has a different way that they're going to feel most comfortable and most excited and passionate about sharing from that inner voice that they have, that unique voice that they want to bring out into the world. And so this aspect of you is your self-expression. When we are expressing ourselves in a way that feels good to us, it also helps to balance the whole of us. All right, so our last aspect that I like to point out has two parts. This is our energetic self. And this part I have made in rainbow colors all the way around our gingerbread. And I do that because I like to envision the chakra colors that we usually use, again, And so this is like all of your chakras. In yoga, we do call the chakras our energy system, but in other indigenous cultures throughout the world, they also talked about chakras as well, but they might have had a different name for it in different cultures. It's that energetic side of you. And you have an inner part right around your body, and you have an outer, like an egg, all the way around you. The egg, the energy egg, some people call it, or the outer aura, is sort of like your boundary, your protection as you walk around. And people's eggs are different as far as, especially cultures. So some cultures may be much more comfortable being very close. Other cultures like a little more distance. But this is that kind of boundary that you put out. As we take care of ourselves energetically, that might look like creating good boundaries for ourselves with relationships, with work, also with play, making sure work and play are balanced for us. As we do that, as we care for that energetic part of ourselves, it also helps us to care for the whole body. So, wanted to introduce this idea to you, that you are a whole self. As you start to see yourself as more than just one aspect, you may focus on a certain area to feel better about. Like I might focus on creating physical strength for myself, but as I do that, I'm also going to feel stronger and more connected to that intuitive part of myself. So it all works together. I hope this was fun to explore for you today. And as always, if you'd like more information about it or see what kind of courses I'm doing to teach you a little bit more about seeing yourself as a whole self, just visit my website, www.wingedtreasures.com. And that's WINGEDTREASURES.com. Have a great day.